Fra Lippo was born in Florence in 1406 to Tommaso, a butcher, and his wife. He was orphaned when he was 2 years old and sent to live with his aunt, Mona Letitia. Because she was too poor to rear him, she placed him in the neighboring Carmelite convent when he was 8 years old. There he started his education. In 1420, he was admitted to the community of Carmelite friars of the Priory of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Florence, taking religious vows in order of the following year at the age of 16. He was ordained as a priest, but he quit the monastery in 1432, although he was not released from his vows. In a letter dated 1439, he describes himself as the poorest friar of Florence, charged with the maintenance of 6 marriageable nieces. With Lippi's return to Florence in 1432, his paintings became popular, warranting the support of the Medici family, who commissioned the Annunciation and the Seven Saints. Cosimo de' Medici had to lock him up in order to compel him to work, and even then the painter escaped by a rope made of his sheets. So his going away included him into many difficulties, which included similar tales of lawsuits, forgery, complaints, broken promises, and scandals. In 1441, Lippi painted an altarpiece for the nuns of Saint Ambrogio, which is now a prominent attraction in the Academy of Florence and was celebrated in Browning's well-famous poem Fra Lippo Lippi. So this is the story of the poem that I am presenting to you. This poem is written in dramatic monologue style. It is almost self-defense by a painter, a monk, of his character and painting. Optimism is vivid in this poem as well as the complete soul dissection of the character named Lippo. Well, in the story, Lippo is caught by a policeman along with 2 other subordinates in a notorious area. So it is the same place when he came down from the sheets from the house of Medici. So Fra Lippo gives his introduction and policemen release him when they realize that he lives with a secular landlord, Cosimo de' Medici. Lippo then rebukes them and threatens them for their misconduct with him. Lippo regrets the unavailability of chalk and coal, otherwise he would have painted their exact pictures. He says that he belongs to a cloister and he had been painting the picture of saint for 3 weeks. Suddenly, as he opened the window, he was attracted by the female noises, and he, at once, made a ladder of the available pieces of clothes and jumped to follow them. After spending some time with them, he was arrested on his way back home as he left a painting of Saint Jerome incomplete. When Lippo realizes that policemen do not believe in his narration, he tells them his past. He says that his parents died and left him to starve in the streets in a young age. He spent life in the street and ate rubbish and dirty food. He even sold the wax of candles into market to earn bread. He was often scolded and punished by the magistrates and people of Florence. One day a lady, Letitia, took him with her hand and got him admitted in the church as a young monk. He willingly accepted the offer as he was given plenty to eat and enough to wear for the first time in many years. It is his first logic to convince the policeman in defense of his character because he did not become a monk out of his spiritual feelings or religious devotion, but to overcome his hunger. The monk tried to teach him Bible and Latin, but they failed, since he was not interested in learning. He used to remain idle all the time, so he started making drawings, paintings, and sketches of the people whom he saw all the time in the church. He painted them on the prayer books, tables, walls, and doors. The monks did not like this, but the prior accepted his talent. He said, "Loose the crow and catch the lark," and gave his consent that he can paint and decorate the front portion of the church. Lippo painted all sorts of monks, church activities, even a criminal who came to the church for confession and hiding, and also some paintings who were not having any religious outcomes. That means he was painting the bodies of the people, which was not liked by the church. He became so much skilled that he could paint extemporary paintings. When the superior saw the body paintings and such a body in which he was showing the real people who came to the church, just like a boy patting the dog of the prior's niece, and then the prior's niece herself, so they became angry. His art was at once stopped. They objected that the body painting is devil's game and he must paint the souls. Lippo further tells the policeman that he replied to the monks that the body painting brings beauty, whereas soul cannot be painted. But they refused and they asked him to try a second time and paint the soul only. Lippo replied that the painter paints reality and cannot use yellow instead of white in the picture, and if the picture is white, then he has to use the white. He cannot make it yellow. He further said painting body is necessary for showing emotions because people stop to see beauty in painting. He says that I joined the company of Cosimo because there he can paint the way he likes. He says to the policeman that he is not a hypocrite. He also makes a prediction about a young painter, his student, Guidi, who in actual reality was older than Lippo, that one day he will become a great painter because he follows the painting style of Lippo. Lippo tells the policeman that he already said to the prior that God made the word and everything else as well. So I paint his things so that people may stop and see God's work. He says that he paints nature more beautifully than it is, so that we may think of God for his gifts. He says that sometimes paintings give him such lessons that we do not learn from sermons and priors' addresses. He says that paintings interpret God's creation, and the world must be thankful to the painters. He tells another incident that prior objected that his paintings do not instigate for prayer. He says in the reply that my paintings do instigate the people to pray because once he painted St. Lawrence being burnt alive by free slaves, and people got excited and scratched the painting. Their faces were scratched and it was to calm down their emotions. So the painting served as catharsis. And near end, when Lippo again realizes that policemen are still reluctant to believe him, then he says to them to come after 6 months and see his another masterpiece before St. Ambrogio's church. Well, there he would paint God, Mary, Christ, saints and angels. He also says that he is hopeful to become a part of that sacred painting because he created it. Thus he defends his character and his profession because saints can't paint, and this is the work of a painter only. Then he departs from the policeman. So the whole story depicts about the Renaissance painters of the time. So the painters had to face a lot of criticism by the church. The church did not permit them to paint the bodies. You must have seen that the Renaissance paintings, they are mostly about the body, and mostly we find the clothless people over there. So this is how they painted, but they definitely gave some lessons which church did not allow. But sooner, the Roman Catholic Church, it saw its decline, and the Renaissance painting, they flourished, and there's so many names. We have Leonardo, we have Leonardo da Vinci, we have Guidi, we have Lippo, we have Michelangelo, Donatello, we have Raphael, and there are many other painters who have painted a lot. So this monologue, this dramatic monologue was written by Robert Browning, who shows the character through soul dissection, and he is the one who basically loves painting, and his 5 to 6 poems are about painting. So I hope you understood the story and liked the video. So please share and hit the bell icon.